Huh? Oh mate, it was savage. Right, well I was only saying the other day that I wanted a PB common this year. Is a lovely fish. That's one of my favourite fish I've ever had, I think. And absolutely over the moon. Right guys, welcome to another video. If it looks like an unreasonable amount of gear in the car behind me, that's because I'm just heading off for 8 nights of fishing, starting with 48 hours on the famous Burghfield Blue Pool up in the Reading area. So it's really early in the morning. I'm just about to leave home and go get a ferry from the Isle of Wight over to Portsmouth, and then I'm driving up. I think it's about 45 minutes to Reading from Portsmouth, and meeting a load of guys up there, and we're going to do a bit of fishing on the Blue Pool. So really excited about that. There's a load of big fish in that lake, and they should be fishing well this time of year. It's just before spawning, so hopefully they're hungry and looking for a bit of grub. So yeah, we've got plenty of bait with us and everything, and once I finish there on a Sunday morning, I'm driving back down to Portsmouth, meeting my mate Jamie, and we're getting a ferry over to France, and we've got 6 days fishing at Etang de Manoir. I'm making a video for the Carp girls, but I'll also be making my own video of that session, so that'll be the next video after this one, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, for this video, just keep watching, and I'll see you when we get to Blue Pool. Well, welcome to Burghfield Blue Pool. We made it. So I just want to bring you up to speed really where we're up to at the moment. I got the ferry about 7:30 this morning, and it was an hour crossing over to Portsmouth from the Isle of Wight. So that's 8:30, and then it was about another hour's drive to the Burghfield complex. So got here about 9:30, and all the other guys were here already, and we'd done the draw for swims kind of previously, and I'd actually come second to last out of the draw, so I literally had a choice of 2 areas of the lake. Everyone else had already chosen, so I decided to go in what we call zone 4, which is kind of the sort of southeast corner of the lake, I think, in swim 10. So that's kind of from the car park, you walk straight along the bank to the left, and it's pretty much the last swim along on that bank. The reason I chose this swim, well, other than the fact that it was my only choice out of 2 swims, but the other reason was the wind was trickling nicely into here, and also I've got an island and access to some of the nice shallow margins that Blue Pool's famous for. So, you know, I thought I couldn't really go wrong having an island, because that's obviously got margins as well, and then to my left and right I've got some nice margins as well. So yeah, quite happy with my swim choice. I've actually seen a couple of fish showing out in open water, which surprised me. You know, I thought there'd be more in the margins. So I've actually put a pop-up out where I've seen the fish showing in open water, and it was quite a nice firm thud there, so it might be worth having a little marker around at some point on that spot. But for now I'm just leaving a single because I don't want to spook the fish. And then, you know, my other rods are out, and I'll probably redo them before it gets dark. But yeah, if you stay tuned, we're going to be talking about all the sort of rigs and tactics and bait and spot choices as well later in the session, so stay tuned for that. I've actually started using a slightly different rig, so I'll talk to you about that, and I'll probably do a dedicated rig tying video for that rig if it's successful for me. I've not really used it much yet, although I've had a couple on it from a club lake. But I don't want to do a dedicated rig video if it's not really a successful rig. So, you know, if I catch on it on this trip, and also on my French trip, which is coming up from sort of Sunday onwards. If I catch there as well on this rig, then I'll do a dedicated rig tying video for you for this rig as well. But you know, I'll show you it a little bit, and then I'll show you how to tie it in another video. So yeah, for now I've just, you know, got my bivvy up, all settled into my swim. Got one out on a single and then a couple of rods out with a little bit of bait around. I'll show you my spots tomorrow. We'll talk you through the bait and everything tomorrow as well. But yeah, for the rest of the day I'm just going to be watching the water, hopefully see where the fish are, and yeah, make something happen. We've only got 48 hours. I've never been here before, so you know, it's going to be hard, but good time of year, and we've got really good overcast conditions and the pressure's dropped slightly, so could be really good. So yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed as always. And yeah, I'll catch you guys a little bit later and talk to you a little bit about what I'm doing with my bait and my rigs and everything. Right guys, we're coming into the evening now. Well, it's 6:45. A quiet day for me, although Adam down at the first swim near the car park, he's had a new PB, £28 something, so well done mate, awesome. We need to pour a bucket of water over your head, don't we mate? I think the guy over the other side's had 2 or 3 tench as well, so they're obviously on the munch. I think that's it for carp, just that one that Adam's had. But there's definitely been a few showing, and I've had a single cast out, I think I said earlier, to where I've seen them showing in open water, but yeah, no joy on that. So I've got the rods out for the night now. I thought I'd, you know, take this opportunity to show you my swim. Oh, little bleep. Let me just double check this, because make sure there's no coots or anything diving down there. Yeah, no, I think that was properly proper liner actually, so that's promising. So I'll take this opportunity to tell you my spots that I've chosen for this swim. So I'm in swim 10 here, which is down the far end of the lake. You can see behind me here I've got my bivvy all set up, and yeah, my rods are in the water there. You know, as I said earlier, I didn't get a lot of choice on the swims because I was second to last out the draw, so I had to kind of go with what was left. But as you can see, there's a nice wind trickling down this way. Fish just showing out in open water again. But yeah, I don't know if you can see along this end swim here. This is swim 11 just next to me, but you've got this nice tree line sort of margin along there, and that's actually where I've got my left hand rod. So from my swim I've waded out in my waders, got my waders on there, and cast it over to that margin there, and then I've used my baiting pole and just done a couple of scoops of bait over the top of that one, and that's just out, yeah, just along, where is it, so just over here somewhere. There's a nice sort of gravelly, fairly clear spot there, so that's my left hand rod, and I've seen a couple of fish showing there, so I'll probably stick with that one for the duration. And then my middle rod is over to this island here, so just on this side of the island here. I've got it tucked in as tight as I can to there. It was sort of 8 foot I think, and it drops off into about 12 foot, so there's a nice little island margin shelf there. And I've seen a bit of fizzing and stuff around there as well, so definitely plenty of activity, and had a couple of liners on that rod earlier on, so that's good. And then my right hand rod I've actually waded out, and there's this overhanging tree here, and I've just got it in under the branches under here, so I had to kind of wade out and underarm it under some branches, but that's out there, and that's got a little scatter of bait over the top as well. So yeah, I'm happy with my spot. Quite happy with my swim, you know, got the wind blowing down here, which is always good, and I've got some nice sort of shallow spots which I like to fish at this time of year, because the fish are starting to group up and think about spawning, and they always head to the shallow water for that, and sort of any sort of snaggy areas where there's stuff for them to rub against when they're spawning is always good. So hopefully I'm in the right areas. I just have to be lucky and hope that the fish pick up my bait. So that's my spots. Got my 3 rods out. I'm going to be leaving them out for the night unless something happens, obviously, and then tomorrow I'll be talking you through my rigs. I'll probably make up another bucket of bait mix, so I'll show you that when I do that, and perhaps we'll have a bit of a walk around the lake if I wind in at some point, and you can see the lake from some other angles. So yeah. Ooh. Another liner there, so hopefully next time I see you I'll be holding a fish, but if not, I'll see you in the morning. Well guys, it's about an hour after I spoke to you last, and I'm absolutely gutted to say that I've just lost one. I was just doing a bit of filming just in the next door swim. It's not far away, you know, but just filming a little bit of the lake there, and my left hand rod, which is on the end margin, has absolutely melted off. Fishing locked up, but it managed to sort of pull a bit of line, and it actually took the rod off the rest, and my whole pod was leaning over, and it managed to get into the snag and cut me off, and all I got back was the end of my line. So absolutely gutted, but at least it's a take, and at least I didn't lose my rod. So that is something to take from it. So what I've done is I've now got an extra peg in my pod to hold it down to the ground. I've got the new Jag pod that's got like a pegging point at the back, but the fish took so hard that it actually pulled the front of the pod over and got the rod off in between the snag ears, started pulling it around, and luckily the lockdown butt rest just held it enough that I didn't lose the rod. But I've put an extra peg at the front of the pod now, just to hold the front so it doesn't get pulled round, and I've fished my line extra tight and everything, so got the rod back on the spot, and hopefully if I get a take on it this time, the fish won't be able to move, you know, get in the snag and cut me off, and I'll be on the rod a lot quicker, because I'm not going to be leaving my swim now, trust me. I only was literally probably 10 yards away, but it was enough that I couldn't get to the rod in time. So yeah, bit gutted, but at least we've had a take, and I know that my rig's working. You know, I got the pick up, I hooked the fish, and the bait's working and everything, so that's good. So yeah, got the rod back out, going to be leaving them now for the night, and as I said, we'll look at the rigs and the bait and everything tomorrow. Well, I was saying in one of my previous videos that this year I really wanted a PB common. My PB was £30.6, and I've had 3 fish that size, and I don't seem to be able to beat it. Well, finally my luck's changed, and I've managed a new PB common, £34 4 ounces from Burghfield Blue Pool, and I'm absolutely over the moon. Caught at first light this morning. There we go. well happy with that one. Caught on the Richworth S-core with an angling iron size 5 Dura Point anchor hook on a new rig that I've been playing with, so I'll probably show you that a bit later on. And yeah, I'll show you my bait mix and everything. But yeah, first morning after the first night, and yeah, we've had this lump, so yeah, happy with that. New PB common, £34 4 ounces. So we're gonna get some water shots of it now and get it back. And if I don't have another fish on this trip, I don't really care. Happy days. Right, well, good morning guys. As you can imagine, I'm still buzzing from that common that you just seen there. I just can't believe it. I've been saying for a while that I wanted a PB common this year because my PB's been the same for about 5 years now. It was £30.6, and I think I said I've had 3 fish that size. I just seem to be stuck on that sort of size, but yeah, finally it's happened on this trip, and yeah, it's mad really. It's funny how things go, isn't it really? I lost one, as I said, last night about 7, and I was absolutely wounded, obviously, you know, thought that was my chance gone sort of thing. But at half four this morning, the same rod has gone again, and the fish swam out into open water. It was a drop back because I'm fishing locked up on that rod, and the bobbin went down to the floor, you know, and I picked it up, and the fish was basically out in front of me, and you know, that rod was on my left hand margin, round to the side, and that fish had swam off the margin and out into open water, thankfully. I managed to get it under the rod tip pretty quickly, and then it just absolutely went mental, and Billy over the other side was laughing because he could hear my clutch going. And he said, "Oh mate, it's beasting you," and I was just laughing as well because it was just insane really. It's nice to sort of share the buzz with some other people, like at sort of early hours of the morning, you know. But yeah, so it sort of went on that crazy run, got it back again, and then it started kiting to the right and sort of picked up my middle rod line, but thankfully sort of came back again and didn't actually get tangled up in that one. And it did another sort of couple of crazy runs, and then more or less just gave up after that. So it didn't last very long, but it was pretty intense. And I got it in the net, and I didn't think it was that big during the fight, you know. It was kind of nodding its head too much. I thought it was a smaller fish, but when I saw it in the net, I was like, bloody hell, it's massive. And it looks just like the Burghfield common that lives in the big lake over there. It's like a mini version of that. So I was absolutely made up, and yeah, hopefully the footage did it justice. And yeah, if I don't have another one, like I said, I don't really care now, because that's made my trip worthwhile. And I'm actually going to France tomorrow, as I said, to Etang de Manoir for 6 days. So yeah, this trip still got 24 hours left, and then 6 days in France as well. So lucky me, hey. So yeah, it's still the morning now. I'm just having a bit of breakfast and a coffee and that, and then I'll probably wind in a minute, go for a bit of a wander, go to the loo and stuff, and then I'll come back and I'll talk you through, you know, I'll show you the rig that I'm using, slightly new way that I'm doing it, similar to my normal kind of blowback rig, but I've done it slightly different. I'll explain that later. And then yeah, I'll knock up a bit of a bait mix to show you as well, so you can see what I've been fishing over the top of. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a few more fish to show you. So yeah, stay tuned guys, plenty more to come, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can bag another chunk at some point. Right guys, welcome back. So I just wound the rods in and went for a little walk just to use the facilities, and just went round to swim 1 where Adam's fishing, and he's into a fish, so I was sort of with him try and help him net it and film it a little bit, and it went round his other line unfortunately, and he's lost it, so absolutely gutted for him. Adam's the guy that looks after all the Richworth team, and the people, if you send in your catch pics to Richworth, it's Adam that picks them up on the emails and posts them to the Richworth page, so he does a really good job for Richworth, and it's yeah, such a shame that he lost a fish, but he did have a PB yesterday, so that's all good. But yeah, I'm back in my swim now, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to show you the rig that I've been using on this session, as promised. I'll just give you a quick run through, and then I'm probably going to do a dedicated rig tying video for this rig at some point, so look out for that. If you subscribe to the channel, then you know, make sure you do, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that coming up later sometime after this trip. So yeah, the rig that I've been using is very similar to my blowback rig that you'll have seen in previous videos, but the main difference is that there's not actually a hair on it. So if you have a look here, I've actually got a hook ring swivel there, and my bait is half an S-core pop up on the top, and then a 15mm S-core bottom bait there, and that's a hook ring swivel with a hook bead on the shank. Just allows the hook to drop down when the bait's picked up, but also I wanted to be able to change my bait. So you know, I usually fish like a half snowman rig that you've seen in previous videos, and similar size bait to this, but you know, if I wanted to fish a double bottom bait or like a 20mm bottom bait with a pop-up on it like a snowman, you know, I can't do that if my hair's a fixed length. But with this rig, you just floss it on, so you can have that any length you want. So because I'm going to France this week and everything, I've sort of changed my rig so that I can change my hook bait. So I might go for a bigger hook bait whilst I'm out in France, I don't know. So I've gone for this rig just to sort of be able to change hook baits really, and I've had some good success on it. You know, on my club water I had a couple of fish. In my last video I didn't say I was using this rig because I was still sort of testing it, but I've had some really good hook holds with it. So yeah, so basically it's just a, you know, coated braid, stripped back, a couple of blobs of putty. It's stripped back just this bit near the hook. It's sort of a semi-stiff one, and then I've got a shrink tube kicker there, size 5 angling iron anchor, Durapoint anchor hook, and then the hook ring swivel on the shank. You know, it's a bit like a German rig if you've seen that, but I'm using a coated braid with a supple section stripped back, because I worry about with the German rig, because it's stiff all the way through. If the fish approaches the bait from the lead end, it can't sort of pick it up into its mouth. So I like having a bit of flexibility so that fish can pick it up. So yeah, that's just a brief run through of the rig that I'm using and the hook bait. You know, my all important S-core that I use everywhere, and half a pop up on top just to give it a bit of buoyancy really. And that's the rig that's done me my new PB common that you've seen earlier in the video. And also I lost one on it last night due to getting cut off on a snag, so that was a bit gutting. But you know, at least I know the rig's working anyway. So yeah, I'll probably do, as I said, a dedicated rig tying video for this rig at some point soon. And in a minute I'm going to show you my bait mix that I'm putting out on the spot, and then fishing this over the top. Right guys, so as promised, this is my bait mix. I've got a little bit left in the bucket here, but that's almost gone. So I'm going to top it up and let you guys see what's going into there. So first of all, we've got the new Richworth, the pellet mix that they do, the small multi pellets, and if you can see there, that's a nice mixture of, you know, halibuts and coarse pellet and sort of the sort of robin red type pellets that you get, and all different sizes, right down to sort of 2 mil I think. So put some of those in there. Don't need a lot because I'm not using a lot on each spot, you know, just making up a little bit of mix to last me for the day really. And then I've got some of the 10 mil Richworth S-Core boilies. These are brilliant because, you know, they're really small, they keep the fish rooting around. They smell absolutely lovely. So yeah, a few of those in there. And some of the 15 mil S-Core boilies there. Just a few going in, just so they've got something the same size as the hook bait really. Give that a little mix around. Next I've got my quarter crusher there. I'm just going to put a few handfuls through this, just a little bit like that, just to break them up, so you've got some different size pieces and some slightly faster leakage to attract the fish into your swim a bit quicker. It just breaks the skin of the outside of the boilies really. So yeah, couple of those going in. Okay, a bit finer that one. So that's that. Next I've got the Richworth S-Core serum, and that's the amino acid blend that's actually in the boilies themselves and in the S-Core pellets. So yeah, you just want a little bit of that, not too much, you know, probably 10 to 15 mil or so. You don't need a lot really. And then finally, good old-fashioned sweet corn, just from Aldi, really cheap, and the carp love it, so why not, hey? Just a little sprinkle of that and a bit of the juice as well. Just helps the pellets start to break down with the liquid, and we'll give that one last mix around. And there it is. So that's what's going out on my spots, and that's probably about the amount of bait that I've been fishing over. You know, I don't need to fish over a lot of bait, just enough for a bite. And my little hook bait, just sitting in amongst it like that. If you can see that there, you know, it just sort of blends in, and hopefully they hoover that up when they come in and eat the rest of it. So that's that. My left hand spot that I had the fish off this morning, I'm actually wading out and casting that one, and then sort of going into the next swim along and using the baiting pole to put a bit of bait over it. So I'll show you that in a minute, and show you how the baiting pole works and everything as well, because that's quite a handy bit of kit, especially for this lake, because there's a lot of difficult spots to reach. So yeah, stay tuned and we'll show you the baiting pole. Right, so I'm just in the next door swim to where my actual bivvy is and where my rods are on the pod. So I'm just gonna put a bit of bait out with the baiting pole. So if you watch what I do here, you'll see kind of where my spot is that I have that 34 pound common from. I'm literally just going to put a couple of handfuls in the spoon, really, not very much. And you might notice when I tip it, I don't just drop it all in one go. I try to wobble it a bit and work backwards, so I'm spreading the bait along in the line a little bit rather than just having it in one spot. It keeps the fish in the area a bit longer. You know, if they can hoover it up in one go, they'll do that and disappear, but if you can spread it out, it keeps them looking for it, and hopefully they find your hook bait. So yeah, if you watch what I do here, you'll see where that spot is, and you'll see where a pole comes in handy. I've never actually used one before, but I've seen previous people's videos of this lake and everyone seems to use them, and I thought, well, yeah, I might as well get one. And I rang up Eric's Angling and they did me a brilliant deal, really quite cheap for what you get, you know, 12-metre pole and a float and a spoon. I think it was 115 quid or something like that, so pretty good deal really. So yeah, Eric's, cheers for that, nice one. And yeah, so I'm gonna just put this bait out now, so yeah, watch where it goes. Right guys, little update for you. So it's been quite a frustrating day today. It got quite sunny earlier on and the fish started cruising around near the surface, and obviously not really up for feeding. You're not allowed to fish floaters on here, although I think if you did, the seagulls would be on you straight away because they're pretty clever, and you know, if you try and bait up or anything, they're straight on it. So I don't think floaters would be the one anyway, but I did try a zig rig about 2 foot under the surface. I'd seen them cruising sort of near the top and just below, so I thought that would be a good idea. And there was fish sort of swimming near it, but none of them took it, so it's often the way with zig rigs. I think if they're sort of feeding up in the layers on like a hatch or something, then zigs can be really good, but you have to be lucky for a fish to pick it up if they're not really interested in feeding, I think. So anyway, that was that, tried that, and then my left hand rod, the one that I had the fish on this morning, that one actually I got a take on around about 11:30 I think it was, and you know, it was a proper take. The tip bent round and everything. I ran to the rod, but just as I got to the rod, the tip pinged back, and then the fish had got away with it. So I wound in, and the swivel had pulled out of my lead and everything, so I knew that it was definitely a take. It wasn't just a savage liner or anything like that. So fish got away with it there. I was a bit gutted about that, but at least I know that spot's still producing. So obviously I'm going to stick with that spot because I think I've had 3 takes off there now, but unfortunately I only landed the 1 fish. So yeah, plan for tonight really is do the same as what I have been doing. So I've just got my left rod out, back on that margin there, and I've poled out a bit more bait over it, and got one rod on the island, the middle rod, just with about 10 freebies around it, because there's probably a few left down there from what I'd already baited up. So that's on a pop-up because I'm not sure of the bottom out there. A little bit of weed coming in on the rig every now and again, so I've just put a pop-up on to make sure. And then my right hand rod's just down to my right hand margin here under the trees, so I think I've got all bases covered. And yeah, what more can I say? You know, I've done all I can at the moment. I'm well happy to have had my PB common on this session, and if I have another fish tonight it'll be a bonus, but I really don't mind if I don't. And tomorrow I'm leaving the lake very early. I think I said earlier in the video, I'm heading off to France to Etang de Manoir for 6 nights, so that's going to be awesome. I'm filming a video for Elaine and Debbie Taylor, the Carp girls, and also I'm going to be filming my own video, so make sure you subscribe to my channel to see that video when that one's finished. This video is going to be first, and then I'll sort of edit the French video. It'll take a bit longer because obviously there's going to be more footage from a week-long session. So yeah, that's about it for this evening. If anything happens, I'll obviously show you. I did have a take at 7 o'clock yesterday evening, the fish that I lost. It's about 6 now, so there's every chance of another take this evening or through the night, but if not, then I'll give you guys a quick update in the morning before we leave, and then yeah, make sure you tune in for the next video where we're going to be going to France. Right guys, it's just getting dark. Pretty tricky filming conditions, so apologies if it's a bit dark for you, but yeah, we've just had this one, 23 pound 8 ounces, absolute screamer on the left hand rod again. Nearly took the whole pod in the water, but luckily I've got some bivvy pegs holding it down at the moment. But yeah, well happy with that one. Nice to get one just before dark. Hopefully I can get the rod out before there's not enough light left to see where it's going. So yeah, I won't chat too long. I'll get this one back, and hopefully there'll be more through the night, but if not, I'll speak to you guys in the morning. One last little look then before he goes back. See you later, friend. I'm not one for kissing carp. Right guys, final morning then. Literally set my alarm for 4:30 because I need to leave here about 5:30, 6ish to get to Portsmouth to go get the ferry to France for my next leg of this adventure. So in the end last night, got to about 11:30, and I decided that because my left hand rod's on the snag, I've got to be on it really quick, and if I went to sleep I probably wouldn't make it, so ended up winding that rod in, and actually wound in the other 2 rods just to get some sleep because I was absolutely shattered, and I've got, you know, a long journey today going to France. So I thought, you know, wind them in, get some sleep, and then set the alarm for 4:30 and just get that one rod out, that productive rod. So that's what I've done. Just down here, look, just got the one rod fishing now, so I can pack everything else away. And I've got one rod on the spot where I've had 2 fish on this session, and the other rods haven't produced unfortunately, but I am told that those spots do produce sometimes. So anyway, yeah, as far as this video goes, that's going to be it really. We've got a lovely carpy morning here, you know, bit of mist rising off the lake and everything, absolutely beautiful. I'd love to be staying another day, but I do have to go catch a ferry to go fishing in France for 6 days. So yeah, make sure you watch out for that video as well after this one. But if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification icon, and then you won't miss the French trip, which is coming up in the next video. I've got 6 days at Etang de Manoir. There's fish up to £65 and quite a lot of 50-pounders as well, so hopefully we can get amongst some of those. And I'm going to be telling you my sort of tactics and tips and rigs and bait and everything for that session. And I'm also going to be filming for Elaine and Debbie Taylor, the Carp girls, so if you check out their channel, you should see a video from them in the next sort of month or so, showing them how their trip's gone at the same venue. So yeah, keep an eye out for those guys. Any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.